What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode number 30 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I welcomed a producer and an artist who's a Tennessee native, but he's lived in LA now for the past 4 years, I believe. His name is Free P. He's worked with the likes of Sci-Hi the Prince, The Game, many more. I'd have to look up the credits once again, but he goes into detail in this episode about some of the songs he's produced on. And like I said, he's also an artist too. He's been putting out projects for the last couple years, and he has a project in the works that he's going to get into later on in the episode about, the concept of that and everything. But this was really a genuine, really good conversation. I appreciated all of his honesty with, kind of how really he has approached his career and kind of how collaborating was a huge thing for him, moving cities and really just taking advantage of every opportunity that he was given. And he really gives credit to a lot of people in this episode, and I think that just goes to show what kind of a person he is. He's a very humble guy, and he's really just grounded in his story and his journey up to this point. And the most important thing I think about Free P is that he knows that it's a journey and it's an ever-going thing. It's not just like once you're on and that's it. It's a constant grind and a constant journey. Like I said, trying to find words here. So man, I don't really want to give away too much, because I thought this was one of the best episodes we've had. I know I say that a lot, but I kind of judge every episode based on the life lessons that I personally get from it. And I feel like I got a lot of good things out of it today, and I feel like you as the listener is going to get a lot of great things out of it today, and hopefully leave pretty damn motivated, honestly. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, welcome everyone to episode number 30 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today's guest is a Tennessee native. He's a really dope producer, really dope artist, but he's out in LA these days. Free P is his name. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. And like I said before, we started recording. Thank you for getting back with me about being on the show. It means a lot and everything. And I'm interested to kind of know more about you, because I feel like I know a little bit, but I don't know a lot. So we're going to kind of dive into some certain topics and everything. So to start off, just kind of give, people that might not be familiar with you a little bit more background. How'd you get into music? Where does your name come from? All that good stuff.
Yeah, so I got into music when I was young. So both of my parents were in the military, and my dad, he was in the military band. He had his own side band called Hypertension. And while he was in the military band, I used to pull up to his symphonies that he would play in, and he was playing the boom, and he was well versed in with other instruments like the saxophone and the keys. So I was just around music growing up, and I say like around middle school. I remember a friend had one of my homies, and he had told me about FL Studio, Fruity Loops, and I think it was like Fruity Loops 3, and it's like at 20 now. So I had started there, and I was just working my way, just trying to figure out how to put sounds together, how to blend sounds, and I just kept studying. I kept just wanting to learn how to do it. So I was teaching myself actively just over the years, and over time I ended up meeting some homies in my neighborhood. Shout out to T. Clark, Teasy. Shout out to Case. Shout out to Tim. Those are the Tim Gent. Those are the homies. I started. I started with. I started. Producing them, recording, mixing. Doing everything the whole nine, and just trying to figure out how to create a sound. From Clarksville, Tennessee. Clarksville. Nobody typically knows. Where the city is at. Let alone thinking that there's talent or something special, but there's so many gems in that city. There's so many people, even outside of music. So I was always inspired. I was always inspired to do great things because I know greatness was around me. So by the time I graduated high school and I got to college, I started meeting other people, the likes of Isaiah Rashad and Michael Da Vinci, Ricky Blue, YG Tut, Petty, Stan, Soulful Brown, so many Nashville artists, G Slap, so many Nashville artists, so many, or just artists around Tennessee, because you got Memphis, people from Memphis, my boy, for Cody, shout out to him, my homie D Sanders, from Jackson City, or Jackson, excuse me, and of course, the homies out in chat, and we all just ended up meeting in the middle in college at MTSU. Shout out to Black Metaphor as well. Just so many people that, like I said, I've been able to, to be inspired by. It's been a blessing. So, after, spending about 3 years in college, me and my homie Cody, we ended up moving down to Atlanta, and just wanted to expand ourselves, just really, take our talents elsewhere, and not just be so confined in Tennessee, even though that's where we're rooted in. And of course, like, that's, it's always love, but we just wanted to find something new, find something else, expand. So we went to Atlanta. I got an opportunity to meet other, great artists such as Childish Major and, Curtis Williams, and also my homie Matic Lee. I met him in Murfreesboro as well. That's a big influence. That's my dog, like my big bro for sure. He ended up moving to Decatur at the point, and just meeting so many people at other studios like DP and Tree Sound, and just seeing it's just been a beautiful process. Like, just seeing the growth, the development, and just seeing where music has taken me. And like I said, I spent some time in Atlanta, moved to Tennessee, or moved back to Tennessee for 6 months, and then my homies Ricky Blue, he was already out in LA, towards the end in 2015, and he kept on telling me, like, bro, like, you should come out here, help me finish this project. So February 13th on 2016, I got a flight for 10 days. I had a round trip for 10 days just to help him finish a project, but I ended up staying out here, and I've been out here since, really. So it's been an interesting journey, man, and it's been a beautiful struggle. I say that much too. Like, it's been a beautiful struggle, but I've been able to, like, learn myself. I've been able to grow within myself. Go through trials and tribulations, and just learn the in and outs of just the music industry, just being able to work with people, and also just developing myself, because that same year, I ended up getting a bigger placement, or like one of the biggest placements that I received, even this far. Shout out to my homegirl, Lorraine Chia. She ended up meeting the game out here, on her own accord. I'm not really sure how that worked out, but, that was a blessing, because in turn that, eventually we ended up putting out 2 blunts, which also had Wiz Khalifa on it, 420, 2016, and that really let me know that, I could really do this out here. I could really, figure it out. If I could stay out here and, I'm coming out here for 10 days. I ended up staying out here probably like a month and a half later. I ended up getting, one of the biggest placements, and it really just changed my mindset to, like I said, let me know I can do this. I can figure it out. I can sustain myself. And later on, Isaiah Rashad, he ends up dropping his second album, The Sun's Tirade, which I ended up producing, Find a Topic. But, that was my homie since college. I was recording him in my closet, you know what I'm saying, before he was even signed, at my old apartment. So, it's just a blessing seeing how things just come full circle. And then eventually I ended up making putting out my own music towards the end of 2016. And since then, I just been developing myself, developing my sound, working on my craft, just becoming a better artist, whether it was for production, writing, and, just being out here. I've been blessed to meet so many just dope people. Shout out to my homie June, that's my dog for real. Like, that's my brother. Shout out to my homie Cassick. Real talk, like, one of the hardest motherfuckers on these beats, man. Like, Real shit. Like I can't say enough about him. Shout out to my dog Ali Oyo. There's so many people out here that have just like really influenced me, and I think that that's the important part of who I am. You know, I won't go as far as to say I'm nothing without the people that I've come in contact with along my journey, but they've blessed me so much, and honestly, it's like, how could I not mention these people along my journey, because they're a part of my growth as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and as far as the name goes, Free P. I remember my homie Sam Porter. He just called me Free one day, and he was like, "Yo, like, I think that's fitting. Like, you're just a free spirit. Like, I like it. It fits." So, and that was back in high school, like junior, senior year, something like that. And it just stuck with me. And yeah, man, the rest is history. I just been, moving about like a feather in the wind. Just keeping myself grounded while still, not being afraid to jump off the cliff, because you got to be able to find your wings. And I think that being out in Los Angeles for almost 5 years now, that's really taught me, those learning lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's been instilled in me, and I'm just very appreciative of, still developing as a person, still growing. And I'm cool about it, man. I love it. I love everything about where I'm at right now in life. So.
Well, it's super inspiring for like me to hear kind of more of your story, because like I didn't know kind of, I knew like you moved to LA and everything to kind of like work with new people and everything, but just in like a short amount of time, it's pretty inspiring to see how much you've grown just in that time. And it seems like you're very true to your story and everything, and like exactly kind of the path you want to be on, and you're already kind of like you said, you already have big placements and everything, and you're already heading in the right direction. So that's super great, man. And we're gonna get into more detail about kind of a few of the things you touched on here. First of all, 2020, right, has been kind of a crazy year, and there's been a lot going on and everything. How, for you yourself, have you been managing in 2020? Have you learned anything new that you kind of taken and ran with? Were you able to pick up any new skills during the pandemic or anything? Like, how did that go for you personally?
Honestly, man, 2020's been interesting, man. Just trying to, navigate and really just sustain myself, financially. Mm-hmm. As an artist, like just investing all your time in the music, and then knowing that basically everything's getting shut down. You got to find different ways. So, just working jobs in there, I sell beats here and there. I've been able to somewhat, sustain myself as far as like streams go, but even that still is like, you got to find other ways. And like you said, developing other skills is important. It's not something that I've necessarily like tapped into, but, just here recently, like for example, one of my homies, D Sanders, and Ducko McFly, shout out to both of them. Like, they just started tapping into these rugs, and, I was just with my homie, D Sanders, and he was showing me basically, what he does to put all of that together, and it's really just dope. If anything, that's just a recent thing that I've experienced, and honestly, that taught me that, of course, like we all know, you can manifest anything that you set your mind to. Like anything that you put your mind on, you can allow that to come to fruition. You got to be willing to do it. Mm-hmm. And just in a short amount of time, even with him, like I've seen the growth, just the evolution, and it's inspiring, man. It's very inspiring. Even my homie Kasich, like he picked up on just expanding his creativity and taking more photos, getting more serious about that, getting more into drawing, and just really thriving in that, and it's very inspiring. And me personally, I just think that I still have my ways of sustaining myself, and I'm blessed in that. And I just think that it's this whole quarantine for COVID-19, I just think that it's allowed me to get to know myself better. It's allowed me to work on my writing, just to be more meticulous about what I'm saying, how I want to say it. Uh, and I mean, I've had moments where I've been overthinking and not knowing exactly what I want to do, but also like because of this time period, you have to sit with yourself and you gotta be able to figure things out right here in order to put things in motion. So I just think that while quarantine is a minor setback, it's also just a blessing in disguise because it forces you to sit with yourself, understand yourself, to the highest degree. Like you have no choice. So I think that, during this time, I just really have been focused on my writing, focused on putting together this next project, just developing myself, and just looking forward to what's to come.
Well, that's super good to hear, though, that you've kind of been keeping busy and kind of keeping like a level head and everything. Because I know, like, especially like people that are more social, they kind of like went crazy a little bit because they were like, oh, I gotta stay in the house, can't like go to the studio too much right now. I can't perform, I can't do this. So like, I don't know. Myself, I'm like, I'm just gonna say it. I'm a loner. I don't have a lot of friends. Like I got my group of friends, and that's it. That's all I got. I'm not at parties.
Hey,
I'm not doing all this shit. So like for me, I was just like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm making beats every day, making content, doing all that. So like for me, it wasn't like a challenge, but I'm always interested to hear how other people dealt with it in March, like the second week of March when all that was going down and everything. So yeah, that's pretty good to hear though that you're kind of like nothing really changed for you too much either. You just became more focused essentially.
yeah.
So that's super great. So let's kind of get into. You just mentioned yourself as an artist. Let's get into that a little bit. I know you have a few projects out and everything. How for you has it been? I don't know if you were an artist first or a producer first, but how has it been as far as like beginning to develop yourself as an artist? Like your writing, for example. Let's say, how do you begin that process when you're trying to sit down and write a song for yourself as opposed to like you're producing for the game or you're producing for like Sci-Hi or all these other people that you've worked with? Like how has that been? Is it more challenging or what to you is fulfilling about that?
If anything, is more liberating.
Mm.
I was, I've been producing for a while. I mean, I probably have made or attempted to make songs like as I was younger, but I always told myself like, nah, I'm not gonna make music. I would always tell myself like, I don't even want to tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, I would have other people ask me like, yo, do you just produce? Like, for example, I would say that one of the people that really, really, put it in my ear was Childish Major.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being at with him in Atlanta one time, and I'm going through beats. This is around the time when he first started walking into his artistry as well, and he was showing me songs. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I produced one of his first songs that he actually was rapping on because he was more so singing, which he's still doing.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to Childish Major for real because he asked me straight up like, do you produce or do you just produce or you make songs too? Like, what is it? And I was like, yeah, I just produce, bro. And he was like, I mean, you should just do it, just try it. Like, you never know what's gonna come from it. Like, I had to tell myself the same thing, and I really love what I'm doing. And fast forward, you see how successful Childish Major is, and it just comes from that belief in yourself. But sometimes it also takes other people, pushing you, past your limits, pushing you beyond your limits. I think that that's the whole, point of, tapping into your artistry is, or just anything creative is just understanding that there's no limitations, only the limitations you put on yourself. So, it took me some time, but, I started recording, little ideas. Like I said, towards the end of 2016, that's when I decided to put out my first song, which was called Midnight Poetry, which is still one of my favorite songs. And to this day, I still love it because it's so raw. It's just so raw, and anytime I'm working on any music, I always like to go back and refresh myself, with what I've done, just to remind myself what I'm deeply rooted in. And I don't ever want to like go away from that. I want to always stick to what where I've come from and how I've come up. through my own methods and how I, just go about doing things. So, over time, I started putting out more songs and eventually put out my first project, Any Day Now, back in 2018. Um, and that was I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of it because it showed that, like I was saying before, if you really, you know, put your mind in something, you can truly manifest that. So, um, I it's been a journey, man, and I just love how I've been developing. I love what I represent in my music. I love that, I speak what I live, I speak what I want to see. I speak what I've seen around me. I speak what I feel like. And mainly, to be honest, like my whole reasoning into making my first project was to let because I got two nieces and three nephews, and my oldest niece, that's my road dog. Shout out to her, shout out to Ariana, and um, I just wanted to let her know, as well as my other niece and nephew, that you can be anybody that you want to be. You can do it how you want to, and I'm showing you, like, it's somebody that's close to you, somebody that loves you, and that cares about you, somebody that's just, like I said, that you can see, that you can speak to. They're putting that effort in to put out creative, you know, just my creativity to the world, and I want to share that with people, and you can do it too. That's always and still has been, and will always be uh, my reasonings for wanting to put out music and just become a better artist, and just taking it serious. I've seen the people I've touched, and it's so funny. I was just talking to my homie the other day, because the Grammy nominations just came out yesterday, and of course, every year there's always things that we may agree on and disagree on, but at the same time, it's like, you know you just got to be happy for the people who are able to ascend to that level, who are continuously ascending themselves, to higher levels. Because me personally, I'm happy that anybody else like one song that I've done. I'm happy that anything that I've created can touch anybody out here, because I know how deeply invested people are in the music that they listen to. So the fact that anybody would take the time out to listen to anything that I'm creating with the people I'm creating with, it lets me know that we're doing the right thing, and we're doing things for people. And that's always been my thing. Like, I want to keep creating for people. I want to give people something to believe in when they feel like they can't believe in something, because I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been able to, like, experience a lot of things, good, bad, ugly, whatever. But the fact that I can paint that and illustrate it, it's a blessing for me, because I know some people can't really, express that. So I know that's the power of music. So that's my whole reason for making music. That's the reason why I want to continue to develop my sound, to develop myself as an artist. I want to continue to expand, because I've only just begun. It's so many people out in this world, and all I can do is be the best version of myself and put my best foot forward, and hope that, like I said, I can reach more people and continue to give my best to the people that have been supporting me. I want to make sure I do that, as well.
Well, that's super dope, man. And I know you brought up Childish Major. It's funny because I was talking to DJ Money the other day, who's Wale's like DJ and everything, and he was talking about working with Childish Major, hopefully, and we talked about his journey as far as, like, he produced for like J. Cole and like Hit Boy and some other people, and kind of got a big buzz going, and then he started doing the artist thing, and now you look at him and, like, his projects have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and, like, he does headlining tours now and everything, and that's kind of interesting that he's the one that kind of, like, pushed you to be like, hey, you should be an artist as well, because you don't want to, like you said it, you don't want to have the limitations. Like, if you can do it and you feel like it's important and you want to give people, a different side of you, and you want to, tell the stories and everything that you have to share, it's very important to do that. And so I think I can honestly envision you kind of taking a similar route where, like, the people that know you as a producer, they're going to eventually catch on to you as an artist and be like, wow, he's super dope, because, like, he understands not only how to make, like, the music around it, but now he's worked so hard at his writing and all this other stuff to make his music just super like like inspiring, and it draws you in as a listener. Because like from what I've heard from your own music, I can already tell like you're only gonna get better because you already have like all the basic things down, and just you producing for so many years, I think has already helped you a ton. Just figure out like song structuring and things like that. So that's super dope, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that so much. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not even like at this point. I'm not concerned about the politics that come with the music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about who's not listening. I'm not focused on that at all. I'm just focused on the people who are listening, and I'm just grateful for it. And I just want to grow, continue to just grow. Like it's nothing better than being able to share yourself with people who care about it. So like worrying about people who don't, that's only gonna bring stress. And I'm not here to do that. Like I'm here to, create a space, for people to be able to enjoy themselves and that's it, man. That's it. I don't want to do too much. I just want to be comfortable making my music so I can make the best music possible, period. And just progressing that.
And it starts with the self confidence too, because like if you don't have that, you're never gonna get your foot off the ground anyway. So I'm glad you got. I can tell you got that as well, and that's really like I think why you're heading where you're heading. It's only getting bigger for you, so that's great, man. So as far as let's say the artists you were listening to growing up that might have inspired you to say I want to produce, I want to make my own music. Who do you think are some of your favorite artists of all time that you still listen to today?
My favorite producer is Pharrell. I love Pharrell. That's my favorite.
Not a bad choice.
Yeah, I love Kanye as an artist, as a producer. All of that. I love Jackson. I love D'Angelo, Lupe Fiasco. Food and Liquor, the coolest.
Hell yeah, man! Some of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, bro. Like honestly, Lupe Fiasco was one of my favorite rappers at the time. I mean, I probably say he may not be my favorite at this point, and that's no disrespect to him. I just have grown as a person, and I've just listened to more music. However, Lupe Fiasco will forever hold a place, in my Hall of Fame, like of rappers. Like he, even back to Fahrenheit 115, Rhyme and Nate. Like, shout out to my homie Devin Betancourt, man. I remember back in high school, I don't even remember how we started talking about it, but we were talking about Lupe Fiasco and talking about a Rhyme and Nate, Fahrenheit, or just his mixtapes. He was like, bro, like I got Rhyme and Nate on CD. I'll give it to you. And I was like, all right, bet, that's dope. I mean, I had it probably on like from LimeWire, downloaded. I think that's what we were using at the time to give. But I mean, or YouTube, just looking up on YouTube. But I remember him giving me the CD. I was bumping that always. I remember seeing Kick Push for the first time with my homie Sam P. Just seeing the video, I was just like, just from that moment on, I was like, this is life. Like, this is hip hop. Like, this is art. Like, I was just blown away. Like, he was just so cool to me, and his wordplay was just. Even getting older and going back listening to it now is like, especially being an artist myself, is like this man Lupe Fiasco was out of this world, like on the moon with the raps. Like his bars were crazy. I love Kendrick Lamar. I love J. Cole. Shout out Drake. I fuck with Drake as well. Like, it's so many people that I really listen to, man. But even still now, I listen to Amel Leroux, like beautiful singer, beautiful voice, very reminiscent to Aaliyah or Solange. So I really like voices like that powerful voices that also that have something to say. Like that's what I'm all about. And also Nas, like Illmatic, one of the hardest albums ever. Like I fuck with, but also even like. I love Future. I love Young Thug. I love I love just music. I really love music that gets me going. You know what I'm saying? Like, even genres. I love John Mayer. I love John Mayer. Like, Assassin. That's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite songs. Battle Studies. It's my favorite album from him. I love Continuum too, but Battle Studies is raw. I love that shit. But I just love to. I love the music that has influenced me because, and also I think that plays a part in just how I grew up. You know, like I said, my parents were in the military. We moved around. I was born in Texas, but I don't remember any of it. I was a kid, so we moved to North Carolina after that. I was there for like 5 years. Um, Ended up moving to Japan for about 3 years, and I think that especially, seasoned me to become the person that I am now, to just be open to, many different things, culture, people, music, different food, all types of things. So I just really appreciate my parents and, moving the way that they did and, sacrificing how they did. I really appreciate them, uh, for that. And, after I was in Japan for 3 years, I ended up in Clarksville, Tennessee, which I grew up in. The rest is history. So yeah, man, like music is just a beautiful art. It's done so much for me, and I'm just so appreciative of just music in general, but especially hip hop. Like, and that's why I fuck with Lupe. Hip hop saved me. Like, that's real. That's real for me. That's real for me and many other people out here. So, I make sure I do. I make sure that I'm privy to what's going on. I make sure I'm hip to what's going on now, and especially before me, so I can, do things in the right manner. Just do it in the right. I want to always give people their due, their flowers. I just love it, man. I love where I'm at. I love what's going on, for real, for real. I love the space I'm in, because it took a while, man. It took a while, even especially in times when I was down. I would really, beat myself up about it. But I feel like in this moment in my life, I've seen that, you know, no matter what's going on, you can overcome these things as long as you're living, as long as you have, that spirit with you, and just stay in the light. Don't dim others' light. If anything, help ignite others. You know what I'm saying? Just always help ignite others. Always, demonstrate that if I keep my flame on, other people will, do the same. And if anything, they can ignite something bigger and greater. And that's always the purpose anyway, because we got to progress, right? Like, that's always how I feel. That's always how I have felt. And that's just what it is with me,
I feel like so many people forget like how many life lessons you get through music too. Like I feel like what you're describing, like you learned a lot of that through like who you listen to, because like I'm the same way. Like, and I've listened to a lot of the people you said are your influences as well, and I still do. So like, I don't know. I was never like a smart like kid in school or anything. Like I kind of, I was just here and there with school. Never really learned a ton of like important things. But like I still feel like music has always been the thing that like I've taken the most from and applied it to life. And like a lot of people will look at that and be like, it's just a song. Like, what are you talking about? That makes no sense. You can't. You need like a book, or you need this, and this. And like, yeah, you get experiences through living life and everything. But I feel like as far as like people like giving me information, I feel like I learned more through music than anything. And it kind of sounds like you have a similar like journey, and you're just taking what you've learned and applying it in your own way, and just passing it down to the people that listen to you. So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about life. We're all different. We all learn in a different way, and everything isn't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, and word to Lito, everything for everybody, for real. Like, we all do things differently. Different strokes for different folks. Like, you got visual learners, you got audio learners, you got hands-on learners. It's so many different types of learners. And I think that even like all the way down to the educational system, the system that's set up within that, you have to meet a certain standard. And if you don't meet those standards or requirements, you're not considered intelligent. And I think that's always been, the downfall of the educational system. Like, you can't teach one because not all students, learn in the same manner. You got to be able to cater to each student individually. And I feel like, that's where teachers come into play. You got to be able to truly understand your students that you're working with. And, even as you get older, when you're out of school, like, you got to be able to work with people. And it's not so much just students anymore. You're talking about full-grown adults. You got to be able to communicate, articulate, and illustrate whatever it is that how your belief system works. But you got to do it respectively. And you got to understand that, like I said, everybody's not the same. So, and that's okay. That's fine. Like, we all do things different. We can, if anything, we can learn from one another if we just take the time to be patient and more understanding. So.
Yep. I couldn't agree more, and that's something I think a lot of people kind of tend to forget, just kind of running through life, kind of just the same thing over and over and over again. So thank you for sharing that whole thing, because that was great, man. Like, I didn't even have that planned or anything, but that was awesome. And shout out to Nas, shout out to Lupe, by the way. Nas is Grammy nominated, so we'll see what he does. That King's Disease was fucking fire. So
yeah,
I hope he gets.
Man,
I hope he gets it. Yeah,
crazy.
Hit Boy's the god this year, man. But speaking of collabs, though, obviously, you've talked about the records you've done and everything. What do you think is? I know this is kind of like a question that can't really be answered, but like, what do you think has been your favorite experience making a song, or if you have a favorite record you've been a part of so far, what would that be?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's a couple good ones. I can't even lie. I just remember, some songs are blur, then others are like, I'll never forget. As a matter of fact, we'll just talk about Summer Walker. This joint that I did with my homie Cat. It's on his project called Phoenix. He put that out back in March, like late March. And like, how that came about was, he was working on his project. He made it a thing to work on it, put it out. And I want to say, like, maybe 2 days before he turned in the project, I remember he had left, and he was like, because he's my roommate also, and he was like, yeah, just go through my laptop, go through these beats, like, do whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'll figure something out. So I remember, I think I made like 3 songs that day on 3 of his beats, just randomly, and Summer Walker just so happened to be the last one I made. And it was right in the living room, and I remember us kind of just talking about certain things, prior, maybe like a couple days before, or just period, like just talking about like relationships, how to sustain relationships or fail relationships, or why shit's not working out. And I kind of just channeled that, with the things that, he and I were both going through respectively, and then also just thinking about what's something that people will feel. So, he flipped the Summer Walker Session 32 joint, and I mean, she's talking about, you don't know what love is. So, I mean, that gave me, it set everything up, like it's like a oop off the backboard. So, I tapped into that, and it was so effortless, just knocking that out, and just seeing how much attention that it's received, because now it has, close to 400,000 plays, and I mean, that's, we don't pay for nothing over here. We don't do no fugazi shit. Like, I don't move like that. I just, like I said, whatever comes natural, we let it be. That's just what it is. And just seeing how it developed, and seeing the power, and just being in the moment, you know what I'm saying? And just being true to yourself, and just expressing yourself, no matter how you feel. Because, I mean, everything is not going to, peaches and cream, you feel me? It's not going to be like that. You gotta, some songs hurt, but the pain that allows you to create the beautiful and timeless songs like that, you know, that makes people want to move. That makes people want to dance. That makes people feel good. It's not that I intentionally want to go through bullshit in my life, but you know, I know those moments do help create beautiful moments, especially in art. So for sure, that's definitely up there. Like no doubt, that's up there. What's another one, man? Like, I mean, Midnight Poetry. The first joint I put out, man. Like I love that joint, man. Like that's. I remember the things that I was feeling as I put it out, and it's so funny because that song I remember making the beat. I was in Clarksville, Tennessee. It was before I even came out to LA. I had already started the idea of the beat, and the hook was there. And I remember just constantly listening to it over the course of that year, like literally, and just allowing it to build upon itself. And that's why I love my writing process, because you know that was all freestyle. Nothing was written down, but it just took some time, and that's okay. Like some things take time. Other times, you know, you might come up with something on spot, and it might be just as good because your energy is channeled. You know, and I think that's why, you know, strive to be as present as I possibly can be. But at the same time, it's okay to write. It's you know, writing is so beautiful. Like I love being able to write my thoughts down, just as much as I love freestyling. And that's why I feel like, you know, just going back to, you know, your question earlier about production and artistry, like just how did that coincide with me? And it's like it's liberating. It's so liberating. And I love doing both. I love producing myself. I love producing other people. I love making beats with other people. I love writing with people. I love writing by myself. Just the whole process. I like just because there's so many different ways that you can go about doing it, and it's like, why not? It's kind of like as a producer, it's like I'm rooted in FL, but over time I ended up learning Logic, you know, and I can navigate through Ableton a bit. But my homie Black Metaphor, for example, he knows every DAW, no lie, MPC, Reason, Studio One, Ableton, FL. You know, you name it. You put him in front of any type of DAW that you work out of, he can work with you and collab with you. And I admire that so much because it shows that not only the versatility, but also like his will to want to understand more than what you're comfortable in. And I think that's the important part of growth. You got to be able to find ways to relish in those uncomfortable moments. And it's okay to be uncomfortable for a period of time, because once you get through that phase, then it's like, oh, okay, like this wasn't so bad. I know how to navigate through it now. So it's cool, man. It's cool.
Well, shout out to Black Metaphor, because I know his beats are fucking crazy, man. Like he's got some of the hardest beats. He's probably one of the most underrated producers that I know of right now. Like he's a freaking legend in the making. But
oh yeah, it's funny because like I don't know if you remember the joint Ali Boumaier, I believe Game, Rick Ross, and 2 Chainz was on that, and he produced it. I remember we were in Murfreesboro at the time, you know, still in college. This man, he had hit me up. He hit because I was with my homie Ricky Blue was with me. It was like 5 a.m, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I think I made one of the hardest beats of my life. Y'all gotta pull up." We pulled up. This man played that shit. Hey, to this day, I'll never forget that moment. It's just, and that's the beauty of it. It's like, you know, you come across so many genius people out. You know, there's so many geniuses out here as far as just everything that we do. Not even just in the arts, but like I'm blessed to know so many talented and well thought out, well versed individuals in the things that they do, and I don't take that for granted one bit. I just don't, like, and that's why, It's so important for me, even if I'm given a platform to speak about myself, I'm always going to mention the people that got me here because they're part of my story. And, that's, if anything, that's even more of a blessing, just being able to share this gift with other people, because that's all this life is. It's just a gift, like, for real. Like, we don't got to be here. I didn't have to wake up today. You didn't have to wake up today, but we did. Did that, we here. It's a blessing every day.
Well, that's super dope, man, and I'm glad to hear that you kind of have those relationships and everything, and a real strong rapport with everyone. And I think you really understand like the human element of the whole thing, because like that's where it starts too, is like relationships. Like even when you're making music with people, if you don't have that relationship, you know what I mean, it's never gonna get off the ground to begin with. Like it has to start, like you said about the two songs you mentioned. It was like it started with a conversation, and that was it. Like you weren't even like trying to. The song kind of made itself in a way, because it was just it was just your life. You know what I mean? You were just channeling your experiences into the music, and then it just happened, and people related to it because it was a real thing. You know what I mean? Like you actually both lived that story. So that's like the best shit ever. So
man, you don't know what love really feels like till you're far in it. It's real. I just want to always continuously be true to just what I go through. I mean, I'm not always make the best decisions, but I also want to minimize my mistakes. And I feel like, as I do that, I'll be able to make the better decisions, even in my music choice, as far as like, what sound to use for this beat, or what beat to use for to make a song over, or which songs to put together to make a cohesive project that has the right transitions and that are sequenced properly. Like it all plays into itself, or into it's all one. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just off top, man. I just like I said, I just want to remain grounded. Being an earth tone, I want to stay grounded in everything that I believe in, bro. Like that's it.
Well, I only got a few more questions for you, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. If you could go back 10 years ago and maybe tell yourself anything, give yourself any advice, what do you think you'd do? Or what would you change? Nothing at all. What would you do?
10 years, I probably just tell myself to just believe in you. Just do you. You hold so much space for so many people. Hold space for yourself too. Give yourself, like literally, just give yourself time. Not even for anything to just be. Because I mean, you'll grow, you'll learn, you'll make mistakes, you'll fuck up, But at the same time, like, I would just tell myself, just give yourself your time that you deserve, because I'm such a I want to do for the gang, like for the whole, like I want to make sure my brothers are good. I want to make sure my people are straight, but I put so much time into others that I may not have given time for myself properly. And although it's gotten me here, which I'm super grateful for, and I don't regret anything. Like I said, I would just tell myself, just give yourself more time. That's it.
So 10 years from now, where do you see yourself going?
10 years from now, I see myself comfortable, for sure. Because I think for a big part of my 20s, I found myself like being in survival mode and just trying to figure things out day to day. I've had phases where things were smooth, but a lot of times I felt like I didn't know what was going to happen next, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle trying to figure things out sometimes. But we've made it this far, and I just think 10 years from now, I see myself just comfortable. me personally, bro, I've witnessed and experienced certain things, and I just think that you just can't. You gotta just not take things so seriously, and I'm just like, you know, I just want to be simple. Just want to keep things simple. I'm a simple person. You know, I'm chill, and I just want to do things. I want to set myself up. I know 10 years from now, I'm sure I have a family, and I want to make sure that I'm fully equipped to take care and handle those things. That's, I just see myself comfortable, man.
Mm.
That's it.
I mean, simple. The simple life is not the bad life. You know what I mean?
Not
And
at
that's
all.
all. That's all we ask for, anyways. So most of the time. So, um,
Yeah, extra stuff is just it's for the birds, man. I'm good.
exactly. So I know you dropped a song end of October, right?
Yeah, yeah. Finally.
So what else? What other music you got coming up that we could look forward to? You got a project you're working on? Like anything you can give us?
Yeah. So I've been going in and out, throughout the year, figuring out if I wanted to put out, a project of my own. Of course, this is November going into December. But I've been meticulously working on things. My next project, I'll just let you know, it's called Healing in Phases. HIP, HIP. So basically, it's like I want people to get hip with healing themselves, people to feel okay, you know, talking to people, or feel okay to listen, or feel okay to go to therapy, or like it's okay to not be okay.
Mm.
It's just okay to be present. It's okay to feel how you feel in that moment. And like I said, I just want people to have a better understanding of how to heal themselves. And I'm not so much like telling you step by step, like do this, do that, do that. I'm just more so just telling you that, I'm healing too. I mean, where this whole world is literally going through a healing phase. Um, we've been broken down with COVID, and the presidency the past 4 years hasn't necessarily been the greatest by far. I mean, that's to say the least. But that's what I'm working on, healing in faith. I got a couple of other things, in the works as far as visuals go. So you can look forward to that probably in December, if not December, in January. I'll put it like that. And I got more music coming after that. I just want to do it right. I want to put the right things behind it, make sure I got the right situations in place, so all my ducks are in a row.
Mm.
So, but Healing in Phases, that's my next project, and I think it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be something that's worth just worth listening to
Mm.
for sure.
That's a super dope like title too. Like I like the concept of that. So I'm interested to hear it when it drops for sure. So you just dropped like ton of wisdom, ton of knowledge. No pun intended, of course. But do you have any final words of wisdom today to leave us off with?
Uh, just be present, and hold space for yourself, hold space for others. Um, it's been such a roller coaster ride of a year,
Mm.
and um, I just think that the best thing I can say is love, like really love yourself, love your people, like stay in tune with your people, because you never know when the last time you'll speak to them. And I just think that when you are speaking to people, always just be present. Don't think about, you know, a bill that you might not be able to pay. You'll figure it out. Don't worry about, money that you don't have at the time. You'll make it. You'll get it. Don't worry about that job or that you haven't gotten. You'll get it. It's coming. Just be 10 toes. Keep your faith and just stay in tune with the universe and stay in the light. That's
Mm.
the best thing I can say.
Mm. Well, man, that's all I have for you today. This was an amazing episode, and I appreciate you sharing all your stories and everything. I'm looking forward to hearing that new project, all your other placements you probably got in the works and everything. And, hopefully we can do this again sometime. And I appreciate you once again for being on the show, bro.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, and I know you produce too. Like, yeah, I want to hear some beats, man. Let's work. Let's go.
I
Like,
might have to send you some stuff, man. But I gotta get better. You know what I mean? I'm not where you are right now, so I gotta
hey,
work harder, man.
I mean, I feel it, but at the same time, you never know. You never know what's gonna catch somebody's ear. So I just feel like just whenever you feel ready, I'm just opening the invitation. I appreciate you allowing me on the podcast for real, for real. So, and I'm all about just building rapport, bro. So, like, whenever you feel like you want to say something, or if you want to, I'm always here because I'm always here for it. So,
Yes. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that, and I'll when I have something I feel like is worthy, I'll try and send it your way and everything. So.
hey, take your time, man. You got it. I promise.
I will, man. Thank you, everyone, for listening. That was episode number 30. We only have one more guest this year in 2020, which will be coming out next week, that episode. And then we'll be finishing off in 2 weeks with myself and Jay Trey back again for a surprise episode. If you guys have been following the podcast for the last couple years on YouTube, you probably already know what it's going to be. But we'll be having that episode. That'll probably be a longer episode. We're going to have, a pretty long conversation about what we're talking about. So expect that coming the last week, probably around the 29th is when we're going to drop it, of December. But I'm trying to get, the list going for 2021 as far as the guests go, and we're going to pick it right back up the first week of January with weekly guests and everything. So, thanks for listening this year, and I appreciate all the support on the podcast so far, and I'm just going to keep it going for you guys, and we're going to continue to grow this thing together. So until next week, we'll see you then.